Lose your head in the wink of an eye at Monster High.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Obscurus Lupa Presents. Today we're covering Monster High. Okay, I've made it no secret that I enjoy terrible movies, and I have said time and again that every movie has some sort of merit. But that doesn't mean I love every movie, and even movies with merit can suck hardcore. Not every terrible movie is enjoyably so, and every once in a while I come across a stinker that leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Sometimes a film is incredibly boring, or offensive, or confusing, or lacks heart, or any and all of the above. And sometimes, as a critic, I've got to review something that falls into this category. Call it catharsis, if you will. That all being said, I hate Monster High. I hate this movie. I wanted to like it, but I can't. Everything about it rubs me the wrong way, and it takes what ideas it might have had and flushes them down the toilet. It's a horror comedy, but it is neither of these things. It's like a movie Trauma would turn down because it's not even good at being offensive. It's just confusing and awful. And I'm gonna be throwing some harsh words its way, let me tell you. Words like fuck and ew. Folks, this is the anti-comedy. You have been warned. I'm not even gonna bother summarizing the plot, there really isn't much here. Our story begins a couple of blocks past the farthest point in the universe with such hilarious gags as the monster in charge having a long name. Oh man, that's a long plaque! And goodness me, is he typing without a keyboard? That both terrifies me and tickles my funny bone. He's looking at the planet destruction schedule. Yes, apparently a monster at the end of the universe is in charge of this, and realizes that Earth's destruction has been postponed. Oh come on, there's a planet Dix. It turns out the postponement was caused, somehow, by a fellow named Mr. Armageddon escaping from whatever they imprisoned him in. His name is Mr. Armageddon. Get your yucks out now! Call me crazy, but wouldn't someone named Mr. Armageddon be useful to ending the world? Or is that just meant to be an ironic name?
I hope they didn't include a picture.
He looks like a normal guy.
The last 24 hours of Mr. Armageddon's existence. 24 hours ago, Doom and Gloom, two skinheads from the planet Polyester, stole a box they thought contained the ultimate weapon. No one told them it contained the ultimate absurdity.
Where are we going? Where no one has gone before.
Okay, here's the perfect example of this movie not understanding how jokes work. I get that comedy is subjective, but there is a rhyme and reason to why certain things are considered funny. So even if a joke doesn't appeal to me personally, I usually understand if someone else would find it funny. But look, the jokes you heard in that clip, and really through the whole movie, are not actually jokes. Take the Planet Polyester gag, for instance. Why is it called Planet Polyester? Are they even wearing polyester? Do clothes have much to do with their characters? It's not brought up again if it is. And the ultimate absurdity. Why do they have that at the end of the universe, and why is it inside a box labeled Doomsday Device? No wonder they stole it so easily, all they had to do was grab it and run really slowly away. And I get the joke about going to Earth. I've seen the joke before. Everything is tense and a character poses a question, and the answer is the last thing you expect. It plays on the seriousness of the previous scene, which is why you laugh when you find out what they're referring to. Except, why is Earth somewhere no one has gone before? There are a lot of people there. Do they just mean monsters or aliens or whatever? Because they have a teleporter that takes them there, I have to assume someone's gone there at some point. The only real joke I found in that sequence was the Chihuahua being crushed by the box, and even then, it's presented in a really lackluster way. So, These two goons release the sphere of imprisonment, and it looks like a basketball. Oh my goodness, what a riot. You can see the string, people. And whoever the fuck this narrator is, I feel like I'm stuck in an 80s educational film with half the fun. Anyway, this ends up freeing Mr. Armageddon. Yeah, looks like a real freak, right? He's got, like, a purple coat and weird eyebrows. I know you know how to do prosthetics, movie.
Mr. Armageddon began Doomsday by transforming a simple cement sculpture into a horny rubber monster. It was this sort of cheap stunt that got him banished in the first place.
Why was that statue in front of a high school? And really, that kind of thing was why he was banished from the end of the universe? They had no other problems to worry about? Even the theme song fails in this movie. I'll give you a small sample. I'm not gonna say this movie is obnoxious, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4 is looking pretty dignified right about now. Our main character, if we have one, is Norm Median, an average teenager if the average teenager took their senior year 10 times. His main goal right now is to have sex with Candace Kane, a French exchange student that could be considered our other lead.
Think fast.
Norm saw that this was his big chance to impress the girl of his dreams. But he blew it.
Okay, look, we don't need the narrator for everything. If you need to explain it, you're not using your medium right. That small bit of the theme song, that was the credits sequence, showing a yearbook with the names and descriptions of each of the characters in the movie. I'm not saying it was particularly clever or funny, but it was a good way to introduce a large cast without getting too explainy about it. But then they ruin it by introducing all of them by the narrator anyway, as if we needed to know that this guy in glasses playing computer games is the smart one. Look, we can judge for ourselves, movie. It's not like there's anything terribly complicated about the characters. And Norm jizzes in his pants. Well, if you know any 4-year-olds who love sex jokes, this movie will be right up their alley.
As the students shuffled between classes, Mr. Armageddon silently collected his first female specimen and momentarily delayed Doomsday for the pursuit of his own personal pleasure.
Oh my god!
You are completely in my power.
Fuck that!
Marvelous idea.
In case you missed it, the humorous part of this scene is that he raped and murdered her. Hilarious, right? If there was any salvation left to be had in this movie, this scene was the final nail in the coffin for me. I'm not harping on an isolated incident here. This is a running gag. Yes, they deemed the murder-rape joke so funny that it's a running theme in the movie. And look, without getting into iffy territory here, I'll just say this. You can joke about anything in the world you want to, including rape, murder, etc. Except context is the deciding factor between if it's going to be offensive or funny or whatever. Take George Carlin's example about Porky Pig and Elmer Fudd. Is it necessarily funny? Maybe not. But you aren't going to be offended at the implication of two cartoon characters in this situation. But in Monster High, the thing you're supposed to be laughing at is a teenage girl getting kidnapped, raped, and murdered by a demon. The only punchline here is that he checks it off in the yearbook. What exactly is supposed to be the joke? That she said fuck that? The joke is that she didn't want to be raped and murdered? If I laughed, I'd feel like a horrible person. It's not a dramatic device, it's not humorous, and it doesn't serve the story. So there you go. Can you see what I'm getting at here? So Mr. Armageddon was banished because he roams in high schools and presents minor annoyances? And what happened to that gargoyle thing? Did the movie just forget about him? And the movie just continues like this, with a long string of sex jokes interspersed with Mr. Armageddon doing random annoying things. This includes boobs, pointless dream sequences of side characters, more rape and murder, a montage of people eating lunch for no discernible reason, boobs, dancing, 3 different takes of Condom Dude attacking a girl with an apple because apparently he's a zombie now, the goons killing a child, a pot monster, a mummy, walnuts, oh hey, there's the gargoyle driving a car, nerdy guy's computer kills him, Dream Kid dies, hey, wait a minute, how did he know about the gargoyle if it was just a dream? And an inexplicable class tour of the basement. Hey, Mr. Armageddon killed her! Got all that? Good. That was only 10 minutes of this thing. If you're feeling like your patience is being tested, be thankful you aren't watching the whole movie. They don't even attempt to connect any of the jokes together. Half of them are completely nonsensical. To top it all off, they keep throwing in sequences of the monster in charge making quips that basically explain the joke, so anything that might have actually been funny is ruined too. Why is the science teacher giving them a tour of the basement? It's just an excuse to get our main characters there, but they could have thought of like 1,000 better reasons for this. To name one off the top of my head, Norm wants to impress Candace and talk with her alone, so they head into the basement for some privacy. A few friends follow along to smoke some pot. There you go. I took 2 seconds to think of that, and it's still better than what they actually did. Alright, back to the plot. Condom Zombie starts picking off students on the tour, so a handful of our characters decide to split up and look for them. And what the hell kind of basement is this? What does the school keep in here? OD, the pot-smoking character, decides to randomly meditate. There's no rhyme or reason to this. Thus begins another random string of events to set up jokes that aren't really jokes. It's basically a Scooby-Doo sequence without the charm or sophistication. The polyester goons, who have so far just been skulking around the background for much of the movie, decide to chase after our heroes. Not sure why, since they're supposed to be looking for the Doomsday device. This involves calling in a girl goon to break down the door, because Norm meets Mr. Armageddon, who I can barely understand because of the filter they put on his voice.
Who are you?
Mr. Armageddon.
Armageddon. Like in the Bible?
The same.
There's a Mr. Armageddon in the Bible? So he explains that today is the end of the world. How running around a high school and bringing mummies to life is going to do that, I'm unsure. Meanwhile, the monster in charge, who is apparently still watching this as a flashback, yells at him to just do it already. I'm confused again. So, the monster in charge wanted to know why the end of the world was postponed, but he entrapped the guy who was supposed to do it? How was the world supposed to end then? Like I already established, Mr. Armageddon's voice is barely intelligible, so of course they have an extended sequence of dialogue for him. Our main characters? Nah, let's have them barely doing anything. The real dialogue should go to this chump. And the mummy kills the goon girl. Good subplot, guys.
You got your penis and your prostate and your ovary. You got your fimbriae and your scrotum sac. And if your hymen is gone, it ain't coming back.
I'm not even gonna explain that one. Norm's life is spared so he can be Mr. Armageddon's doomsday prophet, or whatever, and the rest of the class is killed in a slideshow. I didn't even understand what was going on until they explained it, but apparently our main characters don't give a shit, so why should we? This is probably one of the biggest things in the movie. No one gives a shit about anything. Our main characters don't care, the side characters don't care, the filmmakers don't care, and we don't care. There's nothing to be invested in here. Are we worried if they'll die? Not particularly. Is it at least funny? No. Even if they did play this with a straight face, we know nothing outside of superficial things about our main characters. Everyone's relegated to a stereotype of some kind. We're just watching set piece after set piece for a series of non-jokes. Mr. Armageddon lures Candace to him and gets ready to do his hilarious running gag. The joke is that he has a long penis. In case you didn't get that subtle nuance there. But Norm starts to break the door open, and it puts Mr. Armageddon out of the mood, I guess. Thus begins the most confusing sequence of the movie, with one of the most contrived setups I've ever seen. Earlier on, our group killed the mummy by setting fire to it, and got this guy's shoes wet when they put it out. Now he's drying them off in a microwave. I repeat, he's drying his shoes off in a microwave. He mentions that he put some stink suckers into the shoes that morning, and he's handily kept the stink sucker brochure, which reads that they shouldn't be exposed to microwave radiation. Mr. Armageddon messes with the microwave, and Shoe Guy puts them on, which causes him to melt and then explode. Then this thing grows out of his shoes? I can't explain what just happened any more clearly than that. Was this caused by the stink suckers or Mr. Armageddon? And is that thing supposed to be Shoe Guy or another character altogether? And look at this. This is the laziest effects work I've ever seen. They didn't even bother with the bottom of it. It's just a latex tube.
Holy shit!
Really now? So is this whole thing supposed to be a dream or what? Maybe Norm and Candace will get together, but oh no, there's the pot monster! Who cares at this point? They end up in the advanced physical education room, which includes sexy lighting, a disco ball, and a bed. This isn't supposed to be part of the end of the world thing. That's apparently how it always looked. What a smooth setup, movie. Censored? You've been throwing boobs all over the place. Wait, now it's not censored? You inconsistent piece of shit. OD is killed by the pot monster. Get it? Because he smokes pot, and I guess that's ironic?
There's nothing we can do.
Well, you gave up on that really easily. He seems alright, all things considered.
You just said no.
That's why we care about any of this.
My God, man! Who's your tailor?
Oh no.
Let's play a game. It's called Find Out Which Line Was an Actual Joke Here. It's difficult, but sometimes you have to challenge yourself. By the way, that was the end of a subplot where our two leads were trying to find that male teacher because they thought he could help. Ta-da! There are so many dropped subplots in this. I didn't even mention that one until now, and it didn't make a damn difference to the overall story. Oh yeah, and those two teachers had sort of a romance going on for 2 minutes before this happened. Why are you even bothering, movie? We all know you're just going to pull the ending out of your ass anyway. Norm and Candace try to fight Mr. Armageddon. I have no fucking idea what this actor is doing half the time. He also might have an English accent I didn't notice until now. The narrator sometimes randomly dubs over pieces of dialogue to explain the action, but if you listen to the line she's talking over, it explains everything anyway. It's just pointless. The narration isn't even played for laughs, it's just added at nonsensical intervals. So anyway, yeah, they decide to play a basketball game to decide if the world is going to end or not.
No play for your world.
I'm Mr. Armageddon, beating down bad movies everywhere. Why does Mr. Armageddon agree to this? They make him promise to follow the rules, otherwise they won't play, but they were the ones who made the deal in the first place. Why would he even want to play? Just kill them! None of this makes any sense! If you thought the rest of this movie was overlong and obnoxious, then hoo boy, the ending is more of the same. When I say this is overlong, I don't mean that in the literal sense. This movie is barely an hour and 20 minutes. But man, does it feel like forever. Most of this movie is composed of montages of silly, mostly unrelated things happening, so you don't feel like there's anything on screen to be paying attention to. The main characters are moving from plot point to plot point with no real development, so you don't care that they end up together, or even if they save the world at this point. The movie has failed to provide anything worth concentrating my brain power on. It's barely enough to keep me invested in this review. Look at this stupid basketball game. We're supposed to be rooting for the school team now? The last time we saw them was at the beginning of the movie. They didn't even bother setting up that very well. This movie's idea of bringing everything together neatly at the end is having all of the monsters be members of the basketball team. Yeah, now it all makes sense. Thanks, movie! Norm and Candace figure that the computer monster is making all the shots, so they go to the library to find a book they can use to reprogram it. Along the way, they meet up with a zombie and sleepy guy, who assumes this is all a dream again.
Candace, please. Of course you don't think it's a dream. It's my dream. Now, you wanna rip my head off? You can cut my heart out. You wanna cut my heart right out? You mean this thing's for real? Oh, son of a bitch. I don't want to die again. I've been dying all day.
This might have been a funny moment if this movie had any sense of comedic timing. The scene moves like the movie's got nowhere to be, and they don't even really kill him. Yeah, that's right, he survives! Come on, you had a real setup and you still blew it!
I thought you were dead.
Yeah, well, it's lucky for me the library's on the first floor. You stop being so modest?
Are we in a different movie now? The actors are being so sincere, but it's such a 180 from anything else we've seen so far. I'll commend the actors here for trying, but it's a little too late at this point. Also, why is Sleepy Guy involved in this scene? Did he even know our protagonist very well?
Are you sure this thing's dead? Dead enough.
Ah, fuck. Back to this again. Sleepy Guy turns into a zombie, and Norm puts a new program for the computer guy onto a floppy disk. Just go with it.
Candace, I think you got... You know, I think this movie violence is just getting a little out of hand.
Oh, shut up. This movie's about as violent as a puppy eating a Twinkie. Norm is put in the game, reprograms the computer, and the score is tied. Look, I'm not saying Mr. Armageddon is incompetent, but the score was pretty close before Norm showed up, and that was when they were just playing against a bunch of normal dudes. That's not really an impressive array of monsters. Now it's up to Norm to get the final shot in, and he does it really, really easily. But shit you not, they waste 1 minute and 40 seconds of our lives holding out this damn final shot. I could have learned a new language by now and still not given a shit.
I'll see you again in 1,000 years.
Yeah, you'll be dead by then. Good one, Chief. The monsters leave, Norm and Candace get together, and oh yeah, sure, Pot Smoker's still alive. I was really on the edge of my seat with that one. But wait, I thought there wasn't anything they could do to save him. Do yourself a favor and find some new friends, OD. The monster in charge blows up the basketball prison for unknown reasons, and that's the end of the movie. So, where do I begin? I think I've pretty much covered that I disliked this movie intensely. But really, can you blame me? It's not scary, it's not funny, and it doesn't have an ounce of sincerity in it. I can't even see them making this to cash in on anything. I can't imagine it made back any money in the rental market. It doesn't even seem like this had a finished script when they started. In fact, I'd bet money that they didn't. There are countless dropped subplots, the main story is paper thin, and no one has any sense of comedic timing or what a joke even is. It's not good for shocks or laughs, and I've seen everything here done better in countless other things. Take it from me, it's not worth the watch. Alright, I think that's enough negativity for the day. Next time, I'm going to be having more fun. Sort of.
Insurance paper, dress for foundry.
Oh, hi, kids. Hey, who wants pizza for breakfast? Pizza, kids, pizza! I need pots and pans and dough and flour. First, I'd like to make a toast. Whoa, your energy! How am I going to get out of this jam? Kids, don't try this at home. Help me, my circuits are becoming grilled cheese.
Pills are popping, just no stopping. These kids from dying like flies they're dropping. Intestines slopping, heads are lopping, but the music's playing so we're bopping. You'll lose your head in the wink of an eye at Monster High.
Dead enough.